Hi, it's Margaret Duplashane, and I am here today to talk to you about how to take the steps to train your body to become a fat-burning machine. A quick introduction on myself. I am a 55-year-old fitness instructor, personal trainer, and health and wellness coach. I've been in the fitness industry over 30 years now, and I found that as time was going on and I hit my late 40s, early 50s, I was working out more and more and more and having to watch what I ate and eat less and less and less and count the calories, but yet my weight was creeping up. My body was full of inflammation. I had gut issues. I just was not going anywhere with how hard I was working on my exercise and food to see my body slowly be getting heavier and puffier, and I was miserable. So I discovered intermittent fasting and eating kind of a keto-aligned diet. And by incorporating these things, it completely changed my life. And my body now is a total fat-burning machine. I've trained it to run off of fat for fuel rather than constantly stuffing myself all day long with protein bars and carbs and 2 shakes a day. It just wasn't working. So I'm going to give you the tips, keep it real basic, on the steps I took to start to train my body to shift over from always being reliant on burning carbs to teaching it to burn fat, which changed my life and healed my body. So step 1 that I took, I began intermittent fasting. That was the very first thing I did before I made any dietary changes. Now, I was eating really clean before that, but there was still room for improvement. But focusing on intermittent fasting, and for those that don't know what intermittent fasting is, it's time-restricted eating. It's noting the time that you stopped eating on your night, and then not eating until a set time the next day. And you're typically going to skip your breakfast and or a mid-morning snack. So most people try to get to where they're going a good 16 hours from when they stopped eating the day before to when they eat the next day, and then eating their meals within an 8-hour eating window. Other people will push that and go a little longer. They'll go 17, 18, 19, up to 20 hours in a fasted state, and then adjust and eat in the other hours of the day. So that's where I started. And I got good initial results, and I could feel the things happening to where I knew that my body was burning fat and not becoming dependent on carbs. However, I wanted my results to be even more so. So the step 2 that I recommend if you want to teach your body to burn fat is to adapt some kind of what I'll call a keto-aligned diet. Keto meaning you're getting your body into ketosis. Now I want to backtrack for a second. Intermittent fasting, when you are fasting, you will get into ketosis. But if you eat in your eating windows a certain way, the keto-aligned way, then you'll continue to be in a fat-burning mode even though you're eating. So what is a keto-aligned diet? That is where you're in a range between as low as 30 grams of net carbs a day up to as high as 150. Now, what does net grams of carbs mean? If you look back on a nutrition label of a certain food you're eating, you'll see total grams of carbohydrates, and then you'll see grams of dietary fiber. You can subtract the grams of dietary fiber out of the number of carbohydrate grams, and that will give you your net amount of carbs. So that's how you would count those. Keto kind of expands. There's a range. It's kind of like Goldilocks and the 3 bears. There's just that right place for you. Everybody's different. So I'm going to quickly run through the options for how you would eat ketogenically. One is a full ketogenic diet where you are eating less than 50 grams of net carbs a day, and you're doing that every single day of the week, and you're doing that to allow your body to get into ketosis. You could do that with or without intermittent fasting. The next option would be to cycle your ketogenic eating. 6 days out of the week, you would eat less than 50 grams of net carbs a day, and on the 7th, you would have what they call a carb refeed, where you are eating up to about 150 grams of carbs. Then there's the moderate zone, and that's where I fall into. I found for me, I like to be in the moderate range of about 50 to as high as 150, though I usually don't hit quite that high. 50 to 150, sorry, 80 to 150 is considered moderately keto. And when I do that combined with intermittent fasting daily, I feel my best, my energy feels good, and I can feel that my body is in ketosis. So these are the steps that I took, and I had to do those steps first and foremost before I then shifted and really was able to incorporate this with my athletic performance, which will come up in another video, what happens next after you take these steps. But if you are looking to figure out how do I make the switch, those are the two places that I would recommend starting. Start with some intermittent fasting, get your body used to going longer without food, and at the same time, look into eating a keto-aligned or a conscious carb diet. Somewhere within those ranges that I mentioned will be a happy fit for you. And when you do those two things and you give it some time, it's going to take a few weeks, you will turn into a fat-burning machine, and then there are so many amazing things that happen after that. So this is part one. Hopefully you got a little information that will help you on your journey if you're looking to become a fat-burning machine. And I will talk to you next time.